Hello students, hope you are all doing well. Welcome to another video by QuickStudy. Today we will be starting another topic of IGCSE English Language B, and our topic for today would be how to write fiction. So remember, we are starting section C. This is the writing part. So most fictional and non-fictional stories follow a recognizable pattern. One pattern that is familiar to readers is the five-stage story arc. This structure is also used in films and television series, which is the exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. So basically, exposition is an opening that hooks the reader and sets the scene. Rising action builds tension. Climax or the turning point is the most dramatic part of the story. Falling action is the realizing point of the effects of the climax. And resolution is when the story is concluded. To understand this five-stage story arc, we might take a look into an example. We all know the story of the Cinderella, right? So if we don't, let's do a quick recap. So Cinderella is the story of a kind and gentle young woman who, after losing her mother, is forced into servitude by her cruel stepmother and envious stepsisters. Despite her hardships, and she remains hopeful. When the king announces a royal ball to find a bride for the prince, Cinderella's step family prevents her from attending. However, with the magical help of her god fairy mother, she transforms into a beautiful princess and attends the ball, where she captures the heart of the prince. At midnight, she must flee, leaving behind a glass slipper. The prince, determined to find her, searches the kingdom, trying the slipper on every maiden. When he finally finds Cinderella, the slipper fits, and they marry, allowing her to escape her life of servitude, and they live happily ever after. So in Cinderella, the exposition part would be this when the Cinderella's mother has died, and the stepmother moves in with her two daughters in her house. So the rising action part would be the ugly sisters make Cinderella do the household work and don't invite her to the ball. The climax would be, with the help of the fairy godmother, Cinderella makes it to the palace ball and dances with the prince. This is the climax where it basically builds some kind of tension. Falling action would be the prince finds Cinderella's glass slippers and travels to the country to find her. Resolution would be the conclusion, where, despite the effort of the ugly sisters, Cinderella gets to live a happy life and gets to marry the prince. While writing fiction, we have to remember we have to aim to finish the story in a convincing way, tying up all loose ends, resolving the story, leave the reader with a satisfied feeling with the way the story ends. We have to note that cliffhangers can work well as chapter endings in novels, but they do not work well in short stories. If we are writing a short fiction story, we have to close the story with a convincing close. When we are writing fiction, we have to remember about the vocabulary that we are using. So vocabulary has to match with our topic and the tone of the whole story. The words that we use must evoke the right emotions and atmosphere, helping the reader to feel some kind of connectivity with the story. For example, if we are writing about a topic that is sad or sinister, the clouds gathered conspiringly overhead, the rumbles of thunder, like whispers between them, would be more convincing than the clouds above me floated by, each as fluffy as a marshmallow. So the second phrase is light-hearted. But as the topic is sad or sinister, we cannot use light-hearted words. We have to use something that would be overwhelmingly that would overwhelmingly affect the reader. So, for example, I walked through the forest, crunching the leaves underfoot. The tall trees oozed a smell of summer, fresh and sweet. The branches covered in moss were soft and green. This passage uses words like oozed, fresh, sweet, soft, and green to create a peaceful, serene image of a summer forest. The language chosen here aligns with a calm and pleasant mood. The sensory details, sound, smells, and textures immerse the reader in this peaceful setting. However, if the forest were meant to feel ominous, you might describe it differently. Instead of oozed a smell of summer, fresh and sweet, you might say that the trees exude a damp, earthly scent, heavy with decay. Instead of soft and green, you might describe it as thick, dark moss, clinging to the branches like a shroud. So I hope we can now write fiction very easily, as if we follow the five-stage arc and we use the right vocabulary. Using the vocabulary is as important as the exposition and the climax part. So, if we don't use the right vocabularies, we would not be able to express our emotions to the reader. That's all for today, students. Stay with us to learn more about English Language B and other courses as we post regularly on our channel. To learn more about our online tutoring service, do visit www.quickstudy.uk.